Hey there, chooms. I'm hard at work on a video about Cyberpunk 2077, as you can tell. But this is just unscripted. Let's just talk about Marathon for a second. So many people have their takes as to, is Marathon failing? Is it going to succeed? Are they making enough money to continue the game? And right off the bat, I want to say, I love Marathon. I have been having so much fun. And I've never really played an extraction shooter. If you're a follower of the channel, then you know that I generally enjoy single-player games, or at least narrative-driven games. Of course, being an American, I have played my shooters here and there, but lately, not for me. I dove into Destiny 2, and I've always described that as the most addicting game I never want to play again. And for good reason that I think we'll get into later in this video. But a lot of the topic about Marathon is about the player counts and the reported sales figures. Is it successful enough for Sony to keep investing in it? Right off the bat, I want to say that's not really for us to speculate. There's lots of people that are jumping on this bandwagon, that are kind of rooting for Marathon to fail. And, make your content, guys. But that's not what we're here to do today. What I want to talk about is why I think Marathon is seemingly failing, or at least in the eyes of the fandom and the gaming community, it's not worth the risk to pay $40 to maybe get. And again, I'm saying this as somebody who's really enjoying the game. Bungie has lost their goodwill with the fans, with their own fans who dedicated hours to their games, specifically Destiny in mind right now. It has time and time again shown that they cannot be trusted. These shady game development practices were already making themselves apparent with, sunsetting paid content. Users would buy a DLC, and then arbitrarily down the line, Bungie would say, well, this is not in the game anymore. Sorry, it's too much for our servers, or it just doesn't work with the game that we're trying to present now. We want to keep it fresh. And the audacity to do something like that to your fans is kind of mind-blowing, honestly. Most people that came onto Destiny 1, they were fans of Bungie when they created Halo. Everybody knows what Halo is. Revolutionized first-person shooters. And honestly, Bungie's kept the tradition of being a first-person shooter studio and having, in my opinion, the best feeling gunplay pretty much in the entire gaming sphere. But with their practices with Destiny and then Destiny 2 later, just strip the fans of any trust they have. You can talk to anyone who plays Destiny, and it's like somebody who is falling back into smoking cigarettes, and they know that it's bad for them, but they just do it anyway. And there's a new weapon that's coming out, and that's gonna be the new meta. You gotta get it if you want to stay relevant. It's kind of like a despairing. Lots of people call them bungo because they're just notorious for making shitty choices, frankly. choices that are not in the favor of the players, the people that keep their business going, but more clearly in the interest of their shareholders, their executives. Bungie was owned by Activision for a while. Activision has a reputation, you could say, for not taking care of their customers. And, Bobby Kotick was the infamous CEO for a very long time. Very controversial figure. Lots of people were happy to see him go. A lot of the decisions that rubbed fans the wrong way were made by the Bungie executives. And that's come out in various interviews. I was in the Seattle area myself. I knew quite a few people that actually worked at Bungie, and they were all fine people. And so this, like when I'm saying Bungie, I'm talking about the executive board of Bungie. Like, there are hardworking developers that pour their heart and soul into what they're making. And that is evident in Destiny, and that's especially evident in Marathon, in my opinion. Like, this game, it's an extraction shooter. I didn't even know what the hell an extraction shooter was. I just knew it had this really compelling art style, which we'll get into. It has this really compelling art style, has this cool cyberpunk aesthetic, and I was like, okay, you know what? I'll try it out. And I found that this game is very deep. Like, there is a lot of care, a lot of attention to detail put into this in places that, I wouldn't really think would exist in a AAA shooter. The lore, the background details, the environmental storytelling, it's all very well put together and crafted with care. There's lore dumps and there's text logs and various things to find, people that are fans of the channel might enjoy. And so I'm not at all shaming the developers of the game, but the executives that are in charge. There's plenty of other game studios. From Software, big fan over here on the channel of From Software. They have built a great reputation with their fans. They're not perfect, but they're like, hey, we're going to come out with a, Elden Ring Night Rain, this seemingly like Fortnite Dark Souls sort of thing. And you know what? Okay, From Software really does not miss, so we'll try it out. And you know what? It's great. It's so much fun. And we got Duskbloods coming out on the Switch, exclusively on the Switch. That's a bummer, but hey, we're gonna try it out because From Software has built that reputation, and Bungie has only lost that reputation. And so what I think happens is that after Destiny 2, I think most people agree that it ended well. I had long since stopped playing Destiny. I did not play it myself, but lots of people, from what I can tell and from what I've talked to, enjoyed the way that the story wrapped up, which is good for them. But it was not at all a slam dunk. Every season was not the same level of quality. The store just became more and more predatory. And then suddenly, here comes another live service, an extraction shooter, whatever that means. This was announced before Arc Raiders came out. Now Arc Raiders is massively successful. But when they were throwing around the idea of Marathon, that game was not a twinkle in anyone's eye by any stretch of the imagination. So I felt the doubt. And then it comes out that one of the artists, maybe maliciously, maybe not, had stolen someone's work from like Twitter or the internet at large and put those assets into the game, and not only used the assets, but kind of built the aesthetic of the game on this stolen artwork. And that definitely rubbed people the wrong way. Oh, look at, there goes Bungie, the predatory, scheming game development company. Now they can't even be bothered to come up with their own art style. I was there. I felt that way. I totally understand anyone who wants to write the game off because of that. I will say, since then, once they got called out and everything, Bungie did settle. They figured it out with the artist by the artist's own admission. And so they said it was a mistake. They were like placeholder assets. They didn't realize that these were making it into the final product. And, this kind of thing just seems to be happening more and more lately. Crimson Desert comes to mind as far as that goes. They were actually using AI in that instance. After that, especially, there was like a lot of reason to doubt Marathon. So I think that's the true reason why this game is perceived to be failing, the market for extraction shooters is not that saturated. There's like a handful that have hit the mainstream that people know about. It's not because people don't like shooters. Like Battlefield 6, I think last year, 2025, I think it was the best-selling game of the year. The only reason why I can see it's failing is people don't trust Bungie anymore. So what can we do going forward? I don't know. That's not my job. But Bungie could definitely work on being less predatory. And I would say in Marathon, I feel like it is not nearly as predatory as Destiny was. Like, yes, there's a store. You can buy cosmetics. There's a battle pass and, you know, all that kind of stuff. But honestly, I don't feel like I need to buy it. The designs of the characters are all cool. I've unlocked skins that just by playing the game, you know, novel concept. You know, they're cool. I like using those. I like those better than a lot of the paid skins. But it does kind of tell me that their priorities are seemingly in the right place. They made a solid game with a great gameplay loop. The shooting is still Bungie's excellent quality, and they're not shoving the store down our throats. I don't feel compelled to have to buy from the store. I don't have to buy shaders from the store like in Destiny 2. Like, give me a fucking break. So I think Marathon is a good step in the right direction. It's a shame that in this gaming landscape that, you know, it sold over 1 million copies or something, and that's considered like a failure. It had this massive budget. Maybe it's over like $200 million of dev costs to create this game, which is ridiculous. Like, it's not that big of a game. I will say, like, they did put a lot of care. People need to eat. They're up in Seattle, where cost of living is second only to like what? New York, California. So they need to get paid more for their work. And if they're putting all this time, they're expected to crunch, work after hours. I don't know exactly what the culture is like right now, but they need to get paid. And it does not seem like they've recouped that yet. So I just hope Marathon does well, because I'm enjoying it a lot. The world building is incredible, and the lore is really interesting. I've not spoiled myself on the story. So I just hope that it succeeds. I hope that it does well. Will it do well? I don't know. And I've fully placed the blame on Bungie for losing the player's faith. So anyways, that's the end of this video. If you liked it, please leave a like. Maybe subscribe if you want to see more. Got my video on Cyberpunk 2077 coming up. And, you know, leave a comment if you disagree. If you agree, leave a comment. And until next time, stay safe out there, chooms.